You know, one of the most poignant phrases I have heard in my entire life is when someone tries to show you who they are, believe them. Today I wanted to talk about some fun wrestling things like NXT and the Spring Breaking show yesterday, but another lawsuit came out today against WWE and Vince McMahon, so we're going to talk about that today instead, because this is a pretty sensitive one and one that I think may have some serious traction, just considering WWE's history over the last 20 plus years when it comes to certain storylines. So welcome to Pardon the Wrestling. I'm Brian, and today we're going to be talking about the most recent lawsuit that WWE is facing. This is including Vince McMahon, Stephanie, and other executives within WWE. I'm not going to go over the scope of the actual court documents. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the Wrestling Observer report on it. So let's, I guess, just get into it and what happened. So the headline here, to give you an idea of what you'll be looking at, is a former writer from WWE was let go, and they are suing Vince and the company over overly offensive racist scripts. And there's some examples in here about things that this writer was involved in and certain ideas that were thrown around suggested to show up on TV. And if you've watched WWE for any length of time, you know that WWE has shown you some pretty offensive things on their television show, whether you talk about things like Muhammad Hassan, Kerwin White, the list goes on and on about these overly xenophobic and racist things that WWE has done on TV. And talk about the Booker T stuff when it comes to him and Triple H's build toward WrestleMania 19. Vince McMahon saying the N-word to Booker T on, I believe it was an episode of Raw at one point. There's so many things that WWE has done live on television. So to see things that didn't make it to television, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's a lot more that has just never made it to TV because maybe it actually overstepped the lines even more than you would think. And which is weird considering the stuff that they had put on TV and the things they've gotten away with for some odd reason. And looking back on it now, it's even worse than it was when it showed up in the first place. So even as someone growing up in my formative years, I knew the things like the Muhammad Hassan storyline was just over the line. And now we're getting to a point where lawsuits are starting to come out and we are finding out other bad things that have shown up within the writer's room. So let's just go over this lawsuit. Again, this report's from the Wrestling Observer, and we'll just give you a quick read through here of this report. And the person that did write this was Ian Carey. Former writer is suing Vince, Stephanie, and other executives within WWE. Brittany Abrahams filed suit with the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York on Monday against WWE, and she is accusing them of releasing her after she objected to multiple instances of offensively racist and stereotypical jargon. This also includes SmackDown Vice President Ryan Callahan, former writers Chris Dunn and Mike Heller. So when we talk about Dunn in this context, it's not Kevin Dunn. Vice President Christine Lubrano and writer Jen Peppermint are also listed as defendants. So two of these stories that were suggested include Bianca Belair and Apollo Crews. For Apollo Crews, they wanted him to use a stereotypical and exaggerated Nigerian accent, playing off his Nigerian heritage and just exploiting it. And then for Bianca Belair, one of the lines she was apparently scripted to say was, don't make me take off my earrings and beat your ass. Abraham sent this email to Callahan regarding Belair's scene. Abraham's mentioned that she was new and not trying to be disrespectful or step on anyone's toes, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Bianca's scene includes racial jargon and offensive stereotypes, in particular her go home line, so the take off my earrings and beat your ass line. And then the suit also mentions that Bianca herself had mentioned that she was objecting to the line, and this is what she was quoted as saying: 3 different times that I don't want to say that line, but he never listens to me. He puts that line in every week. And Bianca was also alleged to have said the line would make her sound ghetto. After Abraham's objections were rebuffed, she says the company pretextually terminated her for taking home a special WrestleMania 38 branded chair in April of 2022. Her lawyers argue that doing so is a common practice. She was told doing so was okay, and white male writers were not punished for the same offense. Abrahams had been with the company since 2020. Now, I don't want to assume things, and this whole thing could be a lot of assumptions without knowing the facts. And like I said at the very beginning, when someone tries to show you who they are, listen to them, believe them. So my inclination is yes, this is 100% true. And when you look at getting let go for taking a chair home, this is one of those instances, or at least on paper, it's one of those instances where a company finds a little thing like taking home a chair, apparently something that people within the company have done in the past and can do. That seems like one of those little things that you can be let go for and not get in trouble for doing so because you had, you had cause for termination. Where if someone's speaking up because of maybe something is racial, misogynistic, homophobic, of those natures, that you're primed for a lawsuit that way. Regardless, Abraham's still bringing suit to the WWE. The court documents state that Abrahams continued to be subjected to racist pitches on a WWE Slack channel after she voiced her objection to the scenes involving Bianca and Apollo Crews. It is alleged that a storyline involving Reggie, or currently in NXT known as Scripps, this was Reggie being proposed to dress in drag and being in a tag team with Carmella, and this was scrapped after another writer had objected. And it is noted that a white writer objected this storyline, and I believe the assumption here is that because he's a white writer, that's why he was listened to. Going down further, another storyline mentioned in the suit would have involved Shane Thorne as a crocodile hunter type gimmick, and he would hunt Reggie for fun, which is unbelievable. So again, another storyline involving Reggie, and I'll try and pull it back up here on Twitter and just overlay it while I'm talking here. There is a picture of Shane Thorne from 2021 looking like a crocodile hunter during a dark match. So I'll go find that here in the meantime and have that up here while I'm talking. And the court documents read the following when it came to that actual storyline pitch. In a nutshell, the said hunting gimmick pitch for new wrestlers Shane Thorne and Reggie was, since Shane is Australian, we should make him a crocodile hunter, and instead of crocodiles, he hunts people. Holding Reggie captive in cages was also discussed. Several allegations are also made against writer Jen Pepperman, including that she discriminatorily treated plaintiff and other Black and African American WWE employees poorly compared to their similarly situated white and Caucasian counterparts. And then moving on, it is also alleged that Callahan pitched a storyline where Muslim wrestler Mansoor, known as Mansoor, would be revealed to have been behind the 9/11 attacks, which is ridiculous for many reasons to even evoke that. And Mansoor was 6 years old or something of that nature when 9/11 actually happened. And to even consider bringing up one of the this one is just unbelievable too. Like, this was a huge tragedy in the nation, in the history of our country too, and to evoke this and to play on it even like 20 years later, I want to not believe this. This is ridiculous. So here's what the court documents had to say about it. By way of example, in or around late of November 2021, racially discriminatory comments were casually made by plaintiff's white male Caucasian lead writer Callahan about a Muslim wrestler. Ms. Silvers and the plaintiff, the only Black writers on the team at the time, were asked to pitch a love storyline between wrestlers Aaliyah Mansour and Angel Garcia, who are both Muslim. Ms. Silvers and the plaintiff pitched that Mansour had as a secret that he's keeping from Aaliyah, and that Callahan disagreed with the secret Ms. Silvers and plaintiff wanted for the character. Instead, Callahan suggested, how about his secret is he's behind the 9/11 attacks? Ms. Silvers nervously laughed and said, let's not do that, let's talk about the other part of the pitch. That I don't know what to say to that. That's all right. Finishing off the report here. When Abrahams and other writers brought concerns regarding this to WWE Vice President Christine Lubrano, she allegedly responded, "Wacky things are said in the writers' room all the time. Locker room talk. And I know, but look at the waves we're making in the company. 4 years ago, no woman worked on the writers' team." Lubrano's also alleged to have said, "I heard it was a joke," regarding Callahan's comments. Abraham's suit is seeking reinstatement, damages, declaratory judgment, and an injunction restraining the defendants from engaging in such unlawful conduct. Now, it's going to be a while before we hear more about this lawsuit properly, from whether it's the actual suit moving forward or anything of that nature. There's a lot to take in from this. There's so many absurd things in this. And like I said, if someone's trying to show you who they are, believe them. And there's no stories in here specifically about Vince or Stephanie. Examples included involve the writer's room, and Ryan Callahan is the most mentioned within this report. This is a different day and age, and you cannot be making comments like this, and that should not be a surprise to you. And 20 years later, not okay to joke about something like 9/11. It's not okay in 2023. It was never okay to use racial undertones when it came to black wrestlers, when it came to Muslim wrestlers, when it came to Nigerian wrestlers, when it came to wrestlers that weren't of Caucasian skin, weren't of American descent. This isn't surprising, which it hurts to say that this is so unsurprising to hear something like this happen. To hear what was left on the cutting room, that there were even worse things out there that could have made it. And I'm glad you had someone like Bianca completely saying no to things like this, to not just rolling over and being like, fine, I'll say that. Like, I want to believe that this whole thing is just a money grab. I want to believe that. That's what I want to believe. I find it hard to. Right now, we can't say one way or the other that the lawsuit has 100% merit, and then we also can't say that this lawsuit doesn't have 100% merit, because we don't know the facts yet. If I had to guess, we never will know the facts. If I had to put money on how this will end up, it will go to settlement. That is my 100% belief in where this will land and where it will go. She was wrongfully terminated, and she believed it had to do with objecting to racial stereo lines such as the ones we already mentioned here. And it seems like every single week something comes out from this company, and it sucks to see, because there's so many good people that do work there and that are being honest and being champions of pushing forward great causes, whether it's with Make-A-Wish, whether it's showing that you were able to succeed as a black woman, whether it's able to show that you can be of Syrian descent and rise to the main event, whether it's all these different things that WWE has within their company that they are doing good. But then you have things like this that just completely destroy all that goodwill, because you have a writer's room that was hired by an executive team that is led by someone who thinks things like this are okay. And he has shown live on television that he thinks these things are okay. And you wonder, how many times is this guy going to just completely evade every possible thing he can? This goes beyond storyline elements and whether I'm sports entertained or not. This is a guy who has shown time and time again that he is a terrible person, and he continues to never learn his lesson. Again, this is just another example of things that he allowed, things that he probably encouraged from his writing staff to push the boundaries, pal, and things of this nature. And I hope no one has to continue to go through this. I hope no one is going through this, because it's not a good place to be. I can't relate on that level. I'm not going to pretend to, but I can empathize with it. And I can know that that is absolutely not okay. I really hope this is a sham of a lawsuit and none of this happened. I really do. That's my hope. Is it my belief? No, it's not. If you heard about the story, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Again, thank you for your support. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.